Syracuse, what were you thinking? Buffalo, what were you thinking? Up to now, except for USC, it's all been a pretty nice time for Syracuse. But Saturday was the start of the real test for Syracuse. Even if it is a lame duck time for us in the Big East, the start of conference play. And who but our old friends from New Jersey come up to the Dome. Rutgers comes in. But you know, after the gift we received last week from the referees against Toledo with Krautman's missed extra point, you wonder if Syracuse decided to prove that that was a fluke. Well, you know, what was a fluke was the game Syracuse played against Rutgers. What's going on, guys? We gave them more gifts during that game than the Salvation Army gives out during the year and what they get at Christmas time. 5 times we handed the ball to Rutgers on a silver platter. Right off the bat, our first play from scrimmage, Antoine Bailey with a nice run up the middle, and what does he do? Says to the Rutgers defense, "Here's the ball, take it." Well, of course, 2 plays later came that great play. And what a player we got with this freshman, Dyshawn Davis, putting a nice hit on the running back, forcing him to cough up the ball. Richard Anderson scoops it up and takes it to the house. But you know, all the gifts we gave to Rutgers, we taketh away with ways we could have put the game away. Philip Thomas, he did have an interception, but he could have had 2 more. And both of those INTs could have been pick sixes. And Ryan Nassib, who looked pretty calm and controlled through the first 4 games of the season, giving the ball to Rutgers 3 times. Especially on one bad call there as they came near the end zone. Throwing a slant pass in that area. A slant pass heading into the end zone's a bad idea. Well, guess what? It got deflected and it got intercepted. Also, gift wrapping an interception to Rutgers after we had taken the ball away from them. Just on a rollout, he decides, I'm going to throw it to the defensive end. And also there on one of the final plays of regulation, going for it on 4th and 10, although in that situation, I don't blame you. Throwing a bad pass that Rutgers returns into field goal range, but luckily Cincinnati missed the field goal. And what about the special teams for Syracuse, by the way? Krautman, after looking like Gary Anderson last year, has decided to revert like Curly Howard would do on kicks. I mean, they look like the Three Stooges. All right, let's try to kick it. Okay, let me kick the line drive. Kick, thud, kick, thud, kick, thud. And one of those double thuds was returned by Rutgers all the way down for an apparent touchdown. That was called back on what I'd kind of like to say was a phantom block in the back. But then in the overtime there, in a game that dragged on longer than a Ben Stein lecture, Bueller, Bueller, Bueller. I mean, the game dragged on for 4.5 hours. Anybody would have gone, that's what it almost did. There, we had a nice 4th and inches there at their 2-yard line in overtime. But instead of growing a pair, Marone decides to go for the field goal. Even though Krautman made it, I mean, still, grow a pair, Marone. You were fire and brimstone when you came to Syracuse. What's going on with that decision making, huh? We get the field goal, they get the field goal. Then they kick a field goal to go up there in the second overtime. And what does Antoine Bailey do on this mess of a day? Bookend it by gift wrapping Rutgers the victory. Fumbling there when it looked like we may be going in for the touchdown to win the game. This was an ugly one, Cuse fans. But I will tell you, just like my original title for this, you play with fire one too many times, you get burned. And that's exactly what happened. We got burned. 19-16 by Rutgers. That's all for this. Now a change. No Harry Houdini tricks this week, Bills fans. A week after arguably one of the greatest wins in recent memory by the Bills, we go into Paul Brown Stadium to take on the Bengals. Looking at the way Cincinnati's offense has looked, you might figure this might be a little easier than what Buffalo thought. Well, you know, it was harder than what Buffalo thought. Too hard. Cincinnati's defense is pretty good. I will give them credit for that. But what about the way that we made Andy Dalton, a rookie with red hair, look like Tom Brady? Of course, it was our typical slow start, Bills fans. We kind of muddled through the first quarter and a half of a game. Then we started to come alive. Luckily, Cincinnati didn't build up a lead on us. It was a 3-3 tie. And especially when we could have been up 10-3. Had they not incorrectly ruled against Buffalo on what should have been a sack fumble and a touchdown return by Brian. Great Scott. But then things changed there in the second quarter. What a nice INT, even if it did look like a hot potato bouncing off the Bengals receiver. Scott goes, got it, picks it up, and then he gets his touchdown return. And then we go down and score, making it 17-3 there at halftime. Things started looking good, and I'm like, we're rolling, baby. And all of a sudden, Cincinnati gets rolling right out of the gate when it should be us rolling out of the halftime gate. Heck, that's what we did the first 3 weeks of the season. We rolled over Kansas City in the second half to an easy victory, rolled over Oakland on a come-from-behind victory, and especially in that big victory, roll over New England in the second half in a come-from-behind victory. But it was Cincinnati who rolled over us. It started to look like 2010 all over again as our porous run defense showed up again, allowing Cedric Benson, who if the NFL hadn't dragged its feet and probably might have been suspended for his game because of his conduct, to roll up 104 yards rushing. And also, he looked so in the first half, but Andy Dalton looked like Tom Brady. And Dalton's just a fresh-faced, red-headed rookie, piling up 298 yards of passing on the Bills' defense and leading the Bengals down to a 20-3 outscoring of us in the second half. And especially, tight ends from the opposing teams have killed us. Even if Rob Gronkowski did look like Ivan Putski last week against the Bills. Boy, Jermaine Gresham hurt the Bills, especially with a touchdown catch. And Andy Dalton hurt the Bills with his touchdown running. Buffalo couldn't stop a suspect Bengals offense in the second half, leading up to Mr. Nugent, don't call him Ted Nugent, for Cincinnati, kicking the winning field goal, even if we did try to freeze him with a touchdown before his first kick, which he put through the uprights anyway. But after the euphoria of New England, we crashed with a thud against Cincinnati, 23-20. What a week, Orange fans. What a week, Bills fans. Of course, next week, The Orange probably have a victory gift wrapped if they don't blow it when we go down to the Big Easy to play a team that lost to Army 45-6, the Green Wave of Tulane. And Buffalo, get out your dog biscuits and whatever. Michael Vick and the Philadelphia Eagles come to Orchard Park. You know what I want to do when I see Michael Vick? Oh! I'm never going to let him live down what he did to those poor puppy dogs. I'm a dog lover. Mr. Vick, you might have been the comeback player of the year last year, but trust me, I don't forgive people who do bad things to dogs. Just wait, Mr. Vick, your time's gonna come next week. And by the way, what was supposedly a dream team for Philadelphia this year isn't looking too good. You may just be dog meat, Vic. You may just be dog meat, Eagles. Let's see next week. I'm Ken Haas, and thankfully, that's all this week.